What's up guys, I'm Lizzie. I got a request recently to do a video on how to properly put the bit in your horse's mouth. Now I have already done a video on how to properly fit the bit to your horse's mouth. So if you didn't see that, or if you didn't know that the bit needs to fit the horse, then you should probably go watch the video. I'll link that up here. So let's get into it and let's go over the things that I consider when I am bridling my horse. Now, one of the things that you really want to be careful about is to not be the reason that your horse is difficult to bridle in the first place. I think a lot of bridling issues are actually made by people. Usually when you go to put a bridle on a new horse, it's really easy because they don't really understand what the bit is yet, and you're just putting something in their mouth, they're going to accept it. Now, unless of course you've already made it so your horse doesn't like accepting things out of your hand, which it's not great. Horses learn bad bridling habits when they start associating the bridle and the bit with a bad time. So whether that has to do with your training methods or your method of putting the bridle on the horse. So a couple of reasons your horse might start off by not accepting the bit by clenching their jaw shut is, one, when they are emotionally irregulated, they have a lot of nerves or anxiety going on, you clench your jaw. I mean, we do it too. When you're nervous or anxious, you clench your jaw. So horses do that, and when you're uptight, their jaw is clenched, and so they don't want to open their mouth to accept a bit. So when they're clenching their mouth shut and we try to put the bit in their mouth, they don't accept it. We think that they are just not wanting to accept it because they're being brats or whatever. So we start jamming the metal bit into their teeth. And obviously that's not going to feel great for them. And it's not going to help their nervous system. It's not going to help them relax. So what it is going to teach them is to try to avoid the bit and to put their head up high and to try to get away from you and the pressure. So you're creating a harder to bridle horse in that scenario. So I kind of want to go over the importance of taking your time with your horse. Now, a lot of times people think that when you are taking your time with your horse, that just means that you're tiptoeing around them, and they think that you're never going to get anywhere with your horse because they think that your horse is just going to take advantage of you and push you around. Now, obviously, every trainer is different. There are some trainers that are just a little bit scared of their horse and they want to take as much time as possible because they want to do the right thing by the horse, but they also aren't asserting enough confidence that gives the horse confidence. So if you're a very passive person that is kind of scared of your horse, you're not going to be giving off the confidence that they need to make them confident. But if you are taking your time with the proper training techniques, then you're actually going to be creating a much safer horse to be around. So let's take trailer loading as an example of taking your time. Now, a lot of people think that I don't have the time to stand around and wait for my horse to decide to go in the trailer, so we're just gonna hurry up and force this horse to go in the trailer, and we're gonna fight with this horse for probably over an hour to get them in the trailer, and we're gonna make it so the horse doesn't like me anymore or the trailer and is going to have a much harder time next time. Versus taking your time, which from the outside looks like you're not really doing anything. Just because there's not a lot of action going on, you're not moving your feet, but the thing is, that time that you are standing there letting the horse think about it is going to make next time go so much faster. So really, when we're taking our time to let the horse take their time to regulate their nervous system, figure things out, and go at their own pace, we're also doing it for ourselves because it's easier. It's obviously a lot easier to stand there and do nothing than it is to have to chase your horse around and use a whip and have a ton of energy and fight with them constantly for an hour every single time you go to load them versus not doing much. So it's easier on our part. Also, it makes it easier and easier every single time you go to load because when the horse doesn't associate the trailer with being chased around with a whip and being forced into something scary that they aren't comfortable with, then they're way more likely to go in the trailer when they associate the trailer with something good and not a bad, stressful experience and environment. So you could see it as taking your time as being a passive trainer and tiptoeing around your horse and just babying them or whatever. But if you actually get the whole picture of it and realize that it's not about just trying to be as quick as possible right now, which is not going to be very quick, let's be honest, but it's more about making it as simple and as easy as possible for the both of us, so we're not creating dangerous situations and whatnot. So to bring that back around to bridling, if you are dealing with a horse that is hard to bridle, they are likely associating the bridle with a bad time, whether that is pain or being put in situations that make them very uncomfortable. So it's basically just changing your mindset about it, because instead of assuming that the horse is just being difficult, doesn't want to open their mouth for the bit because they're being a brat, whatever, we can use that bit of knowledge as information as to what the horse is thinking. So if you go to put the bridle on your horse and they won't accept the bit, maybe it's because of past bridling experiences, or maybe it's because they are uptight and nervous and their jaw is clenched. So you can do some groundwork and try to help them regulate their nervous system and bring them back down to reality. A lot of times if they're nervous and uptight and their jaw is clenched, it means that they're kind of disassociating where they are. A lot of people understand what it's like to have anxiety and be nervous. So if we understand that the horses go through that same thing, we'll approach the situation with much more grace. So instead of trying to rush it and be like, you're gonna take this bit right now because I don't have time to fight you, but I'm gonna fight you anyways because I don't have time to wait, then you're gonna be creating a much harder to bridle horse in the future. So every time you go to bridle your horse, you're gonna have to, I don't have time to wait, so yeah. Also, I'd suggest that if you are in a new environment and your horse is very nervous about the new environment and you want to go put your bridle on your horse, but their head is up high and their jaw is going to be clenched, obviously, it's not super safe to be bridling your horse right then, because they're not even going to really know that you're right there, because they're going to be so distracted that their mind is going to be elsewhere, and they're a big animal and they could, you know, move around quickly and stuff. So if you are trying to reach up and get your horse's head when they are very distracted and you're going to be taking off their halter to put their bridle on, it can go very poorly. So make sure that your horse is very aware of you and is very present when you are putting on the bridle. So you want them to notice you, give you their muzzle, and interact with you so that you know that they know that you're there. So let's demonstrate putting the bridle and the bit on Stella. And since I don't like having a halter under my bridle because I think that it creates bad pressure points on the face, I'm going to take the halter off. And here's how I like to do it. I take the bridle off, I'll keep a hand under her chin like this, and then I'll take the bit and I'll kind of put my shoulder under her head so I still have control over her, while I take my other hand and put it on the bit like this, and then I just offer it to her. Good girl. Now, a gentle way that you can ask your horse to open their mouth if their jaw is clenched is to just put a finger in their lip right here and kind of tickle their tongue. Or you can put 2 fingers in their mouth and pull the lips up a little bit, and that'll make them open their mouth. So you don't have to bang the bit against their teeth ever. And I'll just hold it right here. And then if I want to kind of try to rush her, I can tickle her lip a little bit. There you go. And that's the best, gentlest way that you can bridle your horse without creating a bad time. And since the weather is turning to crap and I don't want my camera out in the rain anymore, I'm going to wrap this up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big like and subscribe. I post new videos every single Sunday. You can go follow me on Instagram and TikTok. My handle is SportPony13, and I'll see you guys next week Sunday. Bye! Oh, brother, it's snowing! It's snowing!